My name is Matthew Bennett, and by my side is my son, Callum Gage Bennett.
How you doing?
This is FMA plus 12 Gage in lockdown.
Episode 3. The Philosophical Debate, where 12 Gage threatens his stepmum with a diss track.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to FMA plus 12 Gage in Lockdown World. We are coming to you this week from the Sweary 65 in Greenvale. I am Callum 12 Gage Bennett. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Me?
FMA? Yeah.
Yeah, I am Matthew Mamay Bennett.
FMA?
Yeah, and
Yep.
who are you, you beautiful lady in my corner? You're allowed to turn around and face us as this isn't the Blair Witch.
I am facing you.
Oh, yeah. Your face is so hairy.
I know I'm going to say it's You just got in quicker than me.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Helen, not Bennett.
Nice. Not yet. And why is it not yet, Bennett?
Helen, not yet Bennett.
Yeah.
Because you've not yet made an honest woman of me.
That's because you're not. It's impossible to make an honest woman of you. But yeah, and we also have our special guest, our very, very ever very special for the guest.
Our very special guest, the first ever.
That thing. Our very ever first special guest, Mr. Brandon Dreadnought Donohue. Would you like to say hello, Mr. Dreadnought Donohue?
Aloha. That's all I've got to say.
Yes, and
Nice.
we've this is our first. I'm going around in circles, Karen.
You are.
Use your words.
It's okay.
Do the
are.
word
It's okay.
thing.
You got this.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is our first ever guest, and we've created the craziest setup ever. We're talking through a PS4 while
Yep.
recording everything on separate mics through two channels on our side, even though there's 3 people, and Brandon is recording on his side, holding
Yep.
a microphone. It's just crazy.
Truly
That
genius.
is the wonders of technology. But for this very first section, this is why I haven't told you what we're doing, Callum.
Okay.
I need to apologise to everybody.
Right.
Okay.
Everybody in the entire world who I've
Everyone.
ever worked with,
Okay.
ever.
Oh, no.
Because we did a live stream on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we do every Sunday.
Which we've been doing every Sunday.
So tune in on Sundays.
Yeah, and it was a really good live stream.
Around
so,
6 p.m.
So I wanted to save parts of this live stream and put them up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I was really happy with them. So I got
Yeah.
the whole video and I loaded it up in the video editing software.
All right.
And I started watching it
Yeah.
and I was shocked.
What? How much you interject?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stop talking. I can't stay still.
No.
I'm fidgeting the entire time.
Yeah.
And it just makes me have newfound respect for those people who put up with me all the time, Callum. So from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to apologise for how much hard work I am. And you too, Helen, and you too, Brandon. I did not realise the shit you lot had to go through. It's insane.
Humbly
Oh my
accepted.
God! He's finally he's finally realised. Jesus.
This is
I know.
At this
monumentous.
rate, you're going to need to join our support group that
Yeah.
we've got set up to
What,
deal
for
with you.
Matthews?
For dealing with you.
If you got can I join it? The support group?
Now that you've had to watch yourself.
Yeah,
Hi,
no,
I'm
it's just
Matthew. I've been Matthew for
It's crazy.
40 years.
yeah, it's just crazy because it's like I look back on all my life, and that's the sort of stuff people were seeing throughout my entire life, and no wonder people didn't want to spend much time with me. I'm well hard work. It's like I'm
You're not
constant.
actually that bad.
I am. If I was sat in a room with me in a corner, you'd be like, well, bad. It's almost because Brandon's similar. You're not as bad, Brandon. But
Yeah.
you can't sit still either. It's like
I'm not going to lie.
When you two were in a room, like I remember the band practices when me and Brandon were in a band, and he was a drummer, and I'd just be trying to have a conversation with someone, and then this drum beat would start from nowhere.
Yeah, I was going to
It'd
say.
be like the loudest drum beat. And it'd be like we're just trying to talk, Brandon. And
I know, and
like,
sometimes it's like, Brandon, watch this video. And I'm watching you watching the video, and I'm watching you not watching the video, and it's so
My brain's
frustrating.
already
Go on.
gone to like
Can I
another
ask a-
dimension at that point.
Can I ask a genuine question, Brandon?
Oh, fire away.
Having just lived with these two for a few weeks now,
Yeah.
how do you ever get a word in conversations, like ever?
I find the secret is timing. You've got to land it just right, you know. You find that little sweet spot
When
when
they're
the
breathing.
breathing generally is the best. Sometimes when Matt blinks, there's a good chance there. Like you can kind of get it in. But
Noted,
other than
thank
that,
you.
your guess is as good as mine.
I know. But yeah, so that is my apology from the bottom of my heart to everybody.
Well, that's
in the entire
very
world.
touching.
Yeah,
Thank you.
No, apology accepted.
Yes.
I wouldn't have worked with you
We
this long
accept
if
you.
I didn't know what it was like.
For who you are.
We accept all of you.
All of me.
Yes.
Oh, that's really lovely.
But don't encourage him. I mean, what?
Yeah, don't
Okay, yeah, don't encourage
don't twist
me.
this to like an ego boost.
Yes. But yeah, so we'll go to our first song now, which is, would you like to introduce this one, Callum and Brandon?
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
take turns
yeah.
at talking, so we're not all talking at the same time.
Okay, all right. Would you like to take this, Brandon, or should I?
This song is from an unreleased project of mine, actually, that me, Callum, and a friend of ours, John, did a while ago. And we thought we'd go all out with it. It was basically like a lyrical onslaught, and we called it Lyrical Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yo, it's haunting, you know. Cheese. Dreadnought, 12 Gage, and Johnny.
Pioneer of this rap shit, spell it like it's magic. Flow is like the Ganges, must be born aquatic. Drown 'em like a lattice, expect you set to grind. You can call me the mechanic, machine working all the time. Pulverize the beat, like the passion of Christ. Boy, you're more like a priest and a Catholic choir boy. Got the tools, like go gadget. Cutting through these fools, like they're made of fabric. Always staying static, like you're stuck in the traffic. I'm always fucking spazzing, on the track so erratic. I fuck the beat, so they label my flow pornographic. Oh, you like to rap? That's good news, man, fantastic. Everyone will wanna handle bars like an alcoholic. Everyone will wanna handle bars like an acrobatic. You ain't setting off the spark, you ain't charismatic. You ain't setting off the spark, you can't have my matches. I ain't burying the hatchet, I'm just burying your verse. You think you've wrote a classic? I've already made his hearse. Ain't being diplomatic when I'm asking you to leave. Why don't you mate like a nomadic? I'm fanatic when I speak. Leave you choking like asthmatics. I hate to see you breathe like a semi-automatic. I'ma shoot if you just squeeze. You're like a hobbit, I'm gigantic beyond the planet. I'm galactic, play my cards right just like Gambit. Never pop it, man, I'm rabbit. Spitting this acid, some of limbs turns to red. Just like a rabbit, I'm a hip-hop born and bred. Plus I'm feeding it a carrot full of maggots just to spread the havoc like a dragon fire from the mouth of dread. My flow is so volcanic, eating up the planet's climate. Your flow is dead and gone, they labeled it Jurassic. There ain't no disco on, but I'm spreading the panic. Even Genghis Khan was like, damn dude, barbaric. King of triple threat, you can bet we're a hat trick. Attaching like a ratchet, attacking like we're bandit. I'll keep up with a bracket, you'll probably blow your gasket. Crafting a casket for the planet, spitting out its ashes. My punchline so dramatic, sarcastic and problematic. A little psychopathic, leaving them braided like a physics. The maximum of darkness, you call me achromatic. And I'm acting fucking heartless, here's my Holocaust schematic.
Do you want it, boss? I just want to vent, showcase my scars 100%. Yeah. I'm emotional, depressed and antisociable. Mom thinks that I'll die soon. Catch me hanging out in my room. That's just a bad joke. When it comes to bars, I don't choke. Wow, I'm so weird, like a black Gandalf with no beard. No, I'm not Frodo. Gollum go loco, shoot first with a verse, Han Solo. I do it for the nerds that stay inside. See a pretty girl, then turn and hide. But bro, I'm not a nervous guy. I'm a misfit, I'm a loner. When I'm with Jack in the flat, I'm a stoner. Boys back, bars on tap like Corona. Fans got fave like Paloma. Yeah.
I'm brandishing a language outlandish. It was spaceborne, lay dormant till it heard your performance. Then it landed, left a quake in its wake, separated the equator. While you just defecate on the stage, step away. So a piece of shit's what you equate to. Put your all into it or apologise to a tree for the paper. No matter of fact, hand it back with every pen and pad you've ever had. No, wait the second me says to give it back. Every second all of your cents and 10 pence. Till you can barely afford rent, and I second that. But take a fucking second to realise who you're writing for. On your rap, never knew, man. Just cause a rapper should flow as deep as the ocean. And 5-4 counts in Wales song. It's like we ain't even part of the same craft. You don't have this dedication, I start with it. No to give them a mic, no, no, seriously, it'll make me laugh. Back to the point, is it you're lacking what? What your accolades should take a read the fact you imitate. Why you even rapping, son? But there's a British red-headed featherweight saying it. To be honest, I'm just as confused as you. How can I raise a roof while you just talk about your shoes? That's true. But I'll blaze a trail while you follow the footprints of someone else's boots. So yeah, I studied the art to pull it apart and ignore the rules. But with nothing left to lose or prove to you. Just a thirst to improve on the verse. The words I misuse just become fuel. More horsepower, not just another pack mule. No, sorry, this is my first time, I've never rapped at all. The day I don't walk tall, I'd rather say I never walked at all. Lyrically to me, you're just a 50p smokes board, I much rather ignore. Got a brave face, I'm tearing it off. Wear your insecurities as trophies and go on showing them off. 4 hours dead and gone, but this coughing and this coughing nothing. I don't think I'm ever stopping as long as I got a song I can hop in and chest burst out a bit. That's inside, the riot's the only damn thing I'll incite. So get this lyric embedded in your thick mind, prick. I'm not a hobbyist, the kid who thinks he's a lyricist. I was born to do this.
Dreadnought, 12 gauge, George Stratfield, motherfucker!
So thank you to Dreadnought and 12 Gauge and their friend John for lyrical Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
Does it have the Rex on the end of it?
That's spot on.
Yeah.
Brill. Thank you.
We're normal.
No worries. We recorded it exactly for this podcast
Yep.
because we knew it'd be coming up in years.
Yeah, we all planned well ahead,
Yeah.
which was very, very clever of
About
us.
3 years.
But, right, okay. Now we're on to the proper subject of this podcast. Something that I've been wanting to talk about.
Oh no.
And it's
Well,
not
not
you,
talk about.
like,
It's just me
talking
talk
over
at people. It's the claim that extraordinary. What is it? Oh, Helen, help me. You're my brain.
Extraordinary claims
Yeah.
need extraordinary evidence.
Yeah, the extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So, like UFOs, ghosts, Yeti, crazy things like that. God,
Bigfoot.
life after death.
Things that change
Oh, this is gonna get deep.
the way we understand the world. So if there was proof of the existence of ghosts and supernaturals, then it would change everything that we know about the world and how it works. So
Yeah.
we'd need extraordinary evidence or extraordinary proof to back that up.
Yeah.
Because it'd be such a significant paradigm shift.
Yes, because once I saw a UFO, like genuine, and it was the most astounding moment of my life. We were in the Jalna. Oh yeah, we're useless. We start naming the DJ box. We'll get around to that at some point.
Oh gosh, yeah, we need to...
Yeah. We
But
completely
anyway,
forgot about that.
I was in the van in my band, and we were driving along the motorway, and me and my friend Ed were just talking, and then all of a sudden we just shut up because we saw something coming out of the clouds above us, and it was big, and it was square, and it was black, and it was huge. And we were talking just like we're doing right now, and it genuinely made us shut up. We just lost all words, and we approached it, this thing coming out of the air, and then we saw it was just like a light, and we were in fog. And it was just this lamppost. But for those split seconds, I'd actually seen a UFO, and the way I reacted, it's always stuck with me as that, because it's like
That's crazy.
these things that people see, are they real or are they in the person's head? It's just so mad, isn't it? Because like we know lots of people who are into ghosts and things.
I can I say, it's funny that you say
Yeah.
that. I've had a very similar experience. I remember we was down in Spain. We was at a villa somewhere, and I remember this like orange light was floating above us, and it was like really far in the distance, and we couldn't tell what it was. My dad's a massive UFO enthusiast. He like believes to the core that they visited Earth and that it's happened. And we saw it, and we dropped silent. We were gobsmacked at it. We'd never seen anything move quite like this. It just like floated. It later turned out that it was just like what's it called? One of them Chinese lanterns,
lantern.
But it didn't cross the mind, and for that moment, I was 100% convinced that this was a UFO we were seeing, and it was such a bizarre kind of twist on reality.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of difficult because, like, when you look at everyone who's seen UFOs and stuff like that, like, a lot of them are ridiculed almost immediately because it's like, oh yeah, I've been beamed up, I've had all this stuff. But if they're genuinely telling the truth, imagine how horrible that must be.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, it's that.
Like, if they've had this, like, horrible life-altering experience and everyone's like, no, you're just crazy. You're probably on drugs.
Have you seen
That's
that
it.
footage that came out recently? It's going viral everywhere.
The Pentagon?
Yeah, the Pentagon one.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'd seen it ages ago. I'd also seen people debunking
Yeah.
it. And so I was like, all right, okay, it mustn't be real. But then the military's come out and said, no, this is real.
Yeah.
And also UFOs aren't called UFOs anymore. They're called... Helen, can you help?
That's a weird name.
For them.
Helen, help.
Helen, can you help? I'm here to report. Helen, can you help?
They're called, what is it? UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon.
Yeah,
UAPs,
because
is
the
that it?
term UFO has got a bad rep.
Yeah, it's not as cool anymore now. Damn it.
No, so because of all the idiots.
Yeah.
Because I remember as well that when I was younger and I proper into all this sort of stuff, and there was a video that I had, and it was like this guy talking about the face on Mars, and he'd got the pyramid on Mars, and then he'd worked out all these angles and all this mathematics which pointed to all the planets in the solar system and pointed to the pyramids on Earth and there was a definite connection. It was like, whoa, that's really cool. And then the high definition images from NASA came out and it was just a rock.
Yeah.
And then there was not everywhere, but like there were places online saying that Christian fundamentalists had nuked the face on Mars. So then there wasn't any proof that God
Alex
didn't
Jones
exist. Yeah, it's
sat
just
there.
like,
I gotta say, this is getting real Joe Rogan right now.
yeah, no, but it's just I don't know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like, if someone's seen a ghost,
Yeah.
how can that person prove that they've seen a ghost?
You can't.
Because I believe in my heart, I used to believe wholeheartedly that ghosts existed.
Yeah.
And now I don't believe that they exist.
I see.
And if you would see a ghost, Callum, Brandon or Helen, how would you convince me that you had seen a ghost?
Well, I can.
Because I'd just be like, sorry,
Oh,
Brandon.
sorry. I thought that was the question. I thought that was an actual question.
No,
didn't want to
I
interrupt
talk
you.
forever.
Well, again, this is really weird that you've brought this subject up. I just want to clarify, we didn't discuss this at all.
Because I
But
can
you've
read
mentioned-
minds, Brandon.
I did have an experience when I was younger, and it's weird saying this on a podcast now, so the public are probably going to judge me heavily. But I was only young. I must have been about 6 or 7. So this is the part where now I'm at this point where I'm looking back on it, did that actually happen? Is it a figment of imagination when I was younger, combined with memory loss as you get older and you don't remember the things? But there was this house, and my mum and dad have both said since, because I brought it up with them, that they felt really uncomfortable in this house, and they thought they'd felt things and things that didn't feel right in this place. There was just a very uneasy atmosphere in it. But I remember one day I went to bed, and I'd stayed up all night. I was reading some book of, I don't even know what it was, and I had my little lantern on the side switched on, and then I just looked in front. I looked up from it a second, and there was this floating, it seemed like a skull type shape, but it wasn't quite that. It was kind of just hovering, and it was so surreal. And I was only young, and I didn't, you're not seeing horror movies at that point. I hadn't made this up from fiction. I didn't have access to the internet or anything like that, so I don't know how I could have made this up in my head, this kind of vivid image. And it just hovered, and I was in disbelief. I wasn't scared at first. I was just looking at it, trying to figure out what it was. And then I just remember this snap moment where it clicked and my heart started racing. I could feel it pumping. And I just hid under the quilts, closed my eyes, and I stayed in bed all night, and that was it. I stayed up till ridiculous o'clock in the morning. And that's it. So, nothing happened. There wasn't, a cold wind, a whisper, or, ooh kind of thing. But it was this floating, and it skull-like. And to this day, I have a very vivid image of this. And I can't explain it other than the fact that maybe I was just young and a wild imagination, because that's when a lot of these sightings apparently do happen when you're younger.
Yeah.
I've got quite a lot from when you're at the same sort of age, really vivid and very similar to you. You look back at it and think, well, did I see that, or at some point have I just made it up? But there's such vivid memories that it's at that time.
What did you see, Helen?
So there were a couple that jumped to mind just from Brandon talking about that. The first one was the one in my bedroom where there was the giant bunny rabbit and toys.
Yeah.
And I was very much awake. But since I've started studying sleep, I think there's relating to some aspects of that.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure though. I still don't know for definite.
Yeah.
And another one was in a hotel room, and I think it was in London. It was a really old-fashioned room, and again, I was in a room and it was with my parents, and there was light coming through the window, but the curtains were closed, so I know that it was either morning or early evening.
Yeah.
And the curtains started moving, and then something that was quite... My memory of it is that it was quite demonic, but at the time, like you, Brandon, I hadn't watched any horror films. I was really young. The internet hadn't even been invented when I was...
Whoa!
Because I am that old. Well, no, it had been invented. We just hadn't really heard of it.
Yeah.
Trying to backtrack.
It kind of jumped out from the curtains and just almost leapt across the room past where I was and disappeared.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting that you say
I remember feeling fear, I was really scared.
Yeah.
And then I remember my mum saying that she hadn't seen it.
What?
Because I'd said, did you see that? Yeah. So it was probably, again, something to do with my imagination.
I've got 2 awesome things that I want to talk about before I forget. Callum Jr., I have to say, I'm going to hold my fingers up to remind me about the 2 awesome things that I want to talk about.
Well, I do have kind of one time where I did see something, but at the same point, it wasn't as stupidly young or anything.
Yeah.
We'd watched, I remember it was it's really annoying because at the time it terrified me, but we watched a movie called The Elevator or something like that. It was about like 5 people in a lift.
You're on about the one that Thingy wrote?
Yeah, M. Night
Sense guy.
Shyamalan.
Yeah.
It was an elevator, and since then I've watched reviews of it, and it's terrible. It's so funny as like a horror movie and stuff, but like I think one of my favourite lines in it is a guy trying to prove the existence of a devil by chucking a piece of toast in the air which has jam on it, and he's like, if it lands jam side down, the devil is near. And like, so that's like the level of horror movie we're working with. So I watched that, but it was at that time where I hadn't really watched much horror and it like proper affected me. And then I went to bed and I remember having like nightmares or something like that. And it was all stuff that I could kind of rationalise in my head. Like the lampshade on the, like in the room looked like a head floating and stuff like that. So I was like, that's not real. And then I remember opening the curtain to have a look outside, and all I saw was a silhouette looking up at my window, like on the street corner outside. And
Good.
I have no idea. It could have been
It was
you.
me.
I was going to
It
say,
made sure you were
I bet that was
asleep.
FMA.
It could have been. Yeah, definitely. But I don't think it was paranormal. It could have just literally been a guy like just stood
but
outside.
That's
But-
what's so amazing about these
Yeah.
things. Like, you get your brain into a very specific way of thinking, and then it just takes a few ingredients, and then all of a sudden you've been abducted by aliens and you're being probed senseless.
That's how long it takes, ladies and gentlemen.
But anyway, no, there's
Word
these
to the
two
wise.
things that I want to talk about.
Go on then.
Two very definite things. One of the weird ones was, I'm saving the best one for last. One of the weird ones was
Yes.
when Jackalix, my cat, came to live with us. Me and my partner at the time would see her dashing like out of the corner of our eyes, like across places, like from room to room, but she'd be led right next to us. And it wasn't until I mentioned it and she said, "Oh, I've been seeing the same thing," that we're like, "Whoa, it must have been like a weird little cat." I don't know. Was there a spirit, or were we just so used to seeing a cat darting that we were imagining it?
Or is it just something moving out the corner of your eye, or you imagining
No,
that
but we're seeing a
something's
black
moving?
cat run.
I was going to say,
It was really, really weird. Because I weren't going to mention it, and then I did mention it, and she was like, "Oh, I've seen the same thing."
you sure?
That's really weird because. Go
You
on.
sure you didn't just like leave a window open and just a neighbour's cat's kind of?
No, it happened
You know.
many times.
Oh, okay.
But Jackalix had been abandoned, and so
Right.
maybe it was like her mum or one of her kids. I don't know how it works. But anyway, the really, really interesting one.
Okay.
Oh no.
When I was little, about
Right.
5 or 6 or 3 or 4 or 5,
That's a lot of
I
ages.
don't remember the age.
Okay.
I was running in front of my dad and his girlfriend on my way to school or somewhere, and we were running through a park. And I remember seeing a tree in front of me, and there was a leaf hanging down from that tree. And I remember thinking, that leaf isn't real. I'm going to grab it. And so I reached out my hands and I grabbed hold of this leaf. And the leaf pulled back and ran up the tree, like an insect.
What?
And I was just like, whoa, okay. And then my
Moving
dad
on.
and his girlfriend appeared behind me, and we just left. We just carried on. But
Right.
because I was a kid, I didn't question.
Yeah.
But it was so strange, and it actually happened, and I don't know what to do. I don't know
I don't know what to
Yeah.
do about it.
I don't know. It's so
Yeah.
weird. Is that one?
Yeah,
So it's not
that
like...
is-
It's not like a
I actually
spooky
touched it.
ghost, like a physical
Yeah.
thing that you normally see. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
different, obscure
Yeah.
way of seeing
Yeah.
paranormal. There.
And it pulled back. I remember
That's-
feeling it pull back.
That's nuts.
It is. Because I was like, oh, I can't believe I touched that.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
And it's
So, yeah.
and you're in England. There's no
Yeah.
insects
But
like that.
how do we prove any of those claims that we've
You
made?
can't, and
This
a lot
is
of
the
them
thing. It's
we're so young as well,
Sorry.
aren't we? So like, you know, people can put it down to, oh, your imagination's going wild. But when you experience something like that so vividly, and it sticks with you to the point you're an adult, you think, I don't know, and that's what gives the skepticism to it, doesn't it? It's like you still feel it and remember certain things very vividly, certain parts of the story, and I can't think of one dream where I've had that experience that felt so real, even as a kid. And I do remember some dreams
Yeah.
when I was kids, but you can feel the dream aspect to it with these
Yeah,
particular.
and I think
things.
that's what connects. I think that's what connects them all. It's all a feeling of reality. They were all real. What were you saying, Helen?
I was going to say they were real to us,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to get into philosophy.
Why?
On
This is a perfect place for philosophy.
Oh, no.
It's not the place to have a fully philosophical discussion on epistemology,
right.
but there is a school of thought that everyone's individual reality is just their perception of things and the way it's constructed. There is no universal truth.
I know.
So, you know, if someone experiences something in a certain way,
Yeah, we come back to God.
I'm not bringing God into it
no,
at
but
all.
we come back to God from another episode. If someone believes in God,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
And you
I
can't take that
believed-
belief away
Yeah,
from
I
them.
believe that this leaf was a real thing because I saw it. It happened.
Yeah.
And if you're going through bad times and something makes you feel better, and it's like, whoa, that's God.
Yeah.
How do
there
you
were-
ever argue against
Yeah.
that?
And why would you want to argue against
Because
it?
I like arguing.
But then it brings us back to your statement at the beginning of the podcast
Yeah.
of
Oh, we've gone
extraordinary
full
claims
circle.
need
Yeah.
extraordinary proof. But then you ask, for who?
For who, what?
What would it... So extraordinary claims need extraordinary proof
Yeah.
for the scientific community. That is the general rule of thumb, especially when you're looking at parapsychology.
Yeah.
But for you,
Me?
what
Any of the
you
stories,
would,
really.
for you to believe, or for me to believe,
Yeah.
in something that maybe we didn't believe in before, we wouldn't need the same level of proof
Yeah.
that science would need for it.
Yeah.
So who draws that line?
Okay, right. No, but then, interestingly, we're going to another place, which is flat Earth.
Oh no.
What's the point of flat Earth?
No, but like, what about the people who believe in flat Earth? I know what I believe,
Like B.O.B..
but none of us can actually say that the Earth isn't flat because none of us have actually been out into space and seen what it looks like from up there. So there's this level of belief and understanding and acceptance, but there's different levels of it.
I get what you're on about. I get that. What I think is it comes down to scientific belief and personal belief.
Yeah.
Because I think it's wrong for scientific belief to override people's personal beliefs.
Yeah.
But I
think
also
you're
think,
wrong.
but I also think it's wrong for personal beliefs to try and override scientific. And I think that's how it is.
Yes.
If someone believes something so personally to them, no one can take that away from them. Not even a scientist.
No.
Not even if you brought all the flat earthers into space, made them stare at the Earth and orbit round it for like a week. They'll probably.
For a week. Why a week?
I don't know. Just like how long it takes to orbit the Earth and see that
It's
it's
a
all
day,
round.
Callum. 24 hours is how
Can you
long
stop
it takes.
interjecting me? Like the
Oh,
beginning,
sass.
please. Thank you.
I apologise. My existence.
It's that thing. It's like you can't prove to any of them. They will probably, some of them will get off that spacecraft at the end of it
know.
and be there like, oh well, yeah, but you know, we might not have even went into space. That could have been Stanley Kubrick.
I find it.
Actually, I'm talking crap, Callum. It doesn't take 24 hours to orbit the Earth. It
No, I
takes a
was
lot
gonna
less.
say-
I was going to say, if it's spinning, yeah, and you're going round it as well.
What I said was as foolish as what you said.
There
So
we go, we're both fools.
I'm
yeah.
surrounded by
fools.
fools.
Helen is surrounded by fools. Are you
Yeah.
a fool, Brandon?
You know me.
Fair point.
Cool.
But yeah, that's what I think. I think that you can't override someone's personal belief because they may have experienced something that you haven't, or it may have given them comfort in a time.
Yeah.
I think it
And like
depends how
card
open-minded
hold
you are.
fact. Yeah.
You know, I think.
But also, if we keep going down this rabbit hole,
We're
this
going to reach
also
Australia.
no. This also leads us to. Would you like to say anything else, Helen?
I was just
before
going to
take us
say
on to the
on
next stage of
Callum's
insanity?
point of, and I'm not going to get into a debate of it, but you're saying that you can't override someone's personal belief with scientific evidence.
Yeah, I do disagree with that.
Well, you
what
can.
What would you? Well, you can, but that you shouldn't. But would that then
Mm-hmm.
apply to someone whose personal belief was, say, anti-vaccine, which then actually puts other people in harm's way?
Yeah, exactly.
Well-
That's what I was thinking.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if your personal belief. Well, it's always wrong because we could go then onto the point of like a murderer can believe that murdering people is alright,
Yeah.
but that's harming people. It's that type of thing. But it's like we determine with like morality where the line is. Really. So it's like if a personal belief, because what we're getting on now is that we're putting everyone on the same level. So it's like you believe in God, but you also believe in anti-vaccination.
Yeah.
That's the same.
I was
When it
just,
isn't,
I was just bringing it to the personal belief versus scientific
I
proof.
completely get that, but it's like if we get to that level, we're then trying to equate everything, whereas morality should deem
Yeah.
where things are in the like pecking order of that.
Yeah. I understand that.
Because like you can go on like people can believe some like really twisted things, and that can be their personal belief.
Yeah.
But then other people can just believe in UFOs.
UAPs.
UAPs or
OAPs.
ghosts or spirituality
I
or
believe in
anything like that.
OAPs.
I believe in OAPs too.
OAPs, hell yeah. We all
What
believe
a way
in
to end that
OAPs.
section of the discussion.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I can take it one level further.
No.
Oh, please do.
Yes,
Okay.
let's go.
No, because if what we're talking about reality, our own realities, is what's real, who's to say that our own realities aren't the only realities? Because there's this philosophy thing.
Are you talking about other
This
dimensions?
philosophy
Sounds so
thing.
Other
brainy.
dimensions
No,
here.
no, not other dimensions. It's called solipsism.
Okay.
Oh,
And I didn't
yeah.
realise I believed in this for a lot of my younger life.
I don't know what that is.
But I believe that what solipsism is, it's the belief that you are the only real thing
Yeah,
on this
Yeah,
planet.
everything is
else-
an act of consciousness.
Okay.
But for a long time,
Right.
I did believe
Yeah,
that
same.
because I didn't believe. That's why I hurt a lot of people, because I didn't believe that their emotions and things were
Exactly.
real. It was
Yeah.
only like when I got into my 20s and stuff, when I got a lot older, that I was like, whoa, I think that what's actually going on is real.
Yeah.
It was really weird. To tell you like that, it's a bit odd. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
Sorry, Brandon, you were going to say
No,
something.
I was just gonna follow through on that point. With what you're saying there, obviously, I was wondering if your autism by any chance affected that as well. Like,
That's
obviously,
literally what my thought
yeah.
was.
Like, no, it's
Same.
it's a genuine question. Like, I'm curious how that affected your opinion on things like that as well, because I had very similar thoughts growing up for a long while. I don't know if I was just ignorant to it or what, but you feel like you're the center of everything in a sense, but it's not in an egotistical way. It's in a way where you just can't comprehend other people have their own individual lives that go on, and you could just be a complete background character to someone that you walk past in the street that doesn't give like a second thought to you. You know,
And I'm wondering if it's
you're
further
the
like
main
enforced
character
by
in your
that
story.
not fitting.
Yeah, no, exactly. But also, what was I going to say? I was going to say something really cool, man. No, it also led me to believe that I was invincible, which is why I'm covered in scars, which is why I've done a lot of the ridiculous things that I've done, because I genuinely believed 100% that I could not die.
Yeah.
And all the evidence up to this point has kind of proved me right.
Don't go on.
Well, you've got healing.
do it.
You've got Heelys now, so don't push it.
Yeah. No, but that's why I took so many incredible risks, and that's why I pushed my body to the limits that I pushed it to, because I genuinely did not think
Yeah.
that it would end.
Yeah.
It was so weird, and for people to still believe that and stuff, I was just saying it because I think a lot of people believe it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Yeah.
isn't it emotional intelligence? Isn't that what I'm talking about? Realizing that other people are alive and that they have emotions and things like that.
It's an aspect of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I was very stunted when it came to that.
Yeah.
But you can't
Maybe.
necessarily.
Don't agree with me. Say
Like you say
Yeah,
though, you can't
yeah.
necessarily put it down to ignorance as such. It's because it's not.
No,
It's like
no.
a slightly deeper thing than that, I think.
Yeah, it's belief.
Yeah.
It was a belief in me that I was the only real thing on this planet.
Because you can't see any
Yeah,
proof against
and-
it. It's not like you can look through someone else's eyes, feel someone else's emotion. You can sympathise and understand with people, but you can never necessarily be them. So who's to say? We're not living
Yeah,
in like some
definitely.
super complex Sims game, Sims 8, that
Yeah.
someone's playing like above us all. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous,
So-
but like in theory.
Yeah, so if you have any crazy opinions like these ones, please leave them in the comments.
Yeah.
So then
Let us know we're not kooky.
I know that, I know that I'm not the only crazy
Yeah.
one on the planet. But I think we will go to our story now. Is that right, Helen?
Yep,
Yeah. Would you like to read Sleep Tight?
I would love to read Sleep Tight.
It's such a sad story. For the first week, we chose a horror story. For the second week, we chose a happy story. But this week, we're choosing a heartbreaking poem/story. And once again, our beautiful Helen will be reading it out. Enjoy.
With her hair brushing against my face and her breath upon my lips, she told me this. I used to want to live forever, but now I can't wait to die. I'm tired of all this pain. I'm tired of collecting scars. I asked her what it was she loved, and she told me she loved the stars. I placed my hand over her heart and whispered back to her, "Close your eyes and take my hand. All that I can offer are pretty words and empty air." She shut her eyelids and entwined her fingers in mine. "When the time has come and our time is up, I'll wait for you if you wait for me. so we can dance across the universe, tearing through the fabric of reality. Imagine sparks, imagine smiles, imagine sorrow and suns. Imagine what we'll become. In a cosmos full of chaos, we'll weave through gravity and space and discover the edge of night. Playing catch with asteroids and comets, we could race against the starlight. She smiled at my foolishness. I told her, together we could fly. We could be phantoms of light waves and laughter. We could be a dragon made of particles, photons and atoms. Maybe even achieve the impossible and see a happily ever after. Let's surf the supernovas and watch the beauty of obliteration. Let's orbit the event horizon, see the wonder in annihilation. Let's swim our way through nebulas and weather cosmic storms. We'll unravel the mysteries of everything and take on another form. We'll unlock the secrets at the heart of time, hear the roar of beauty, and exist intimately inside infinity. We'll witness the pulse of the pulsar, witness a whole new spectrum, and then, when we're done, I'll find you a diamond sun. She stopped me as I spoke. She smiled sadly at my thoughts. She blinked and sighed, then paused. Then she said, I used to want to live forever. Now, I can't wait to die. But I'll wait for you, if you wait for me, when we reach the other side. I handed her my smile and told her to hold it tight. And with her hair brushing against my face and her breath upon my lips, we waited and we waited for the dawn of the morning light.
And that was Sleep Tight, read out by Helen. Everybody give Helen a round of applause.
Woo! Yeah.
Why, thank you.
Thank you, Helen. She hasn't actually read it yet. We're going to be doing that in the future to put back in the past.
Oh, you just ruined the illusion.
Oh,
this
you're letting-
moment,
you're letting-
this moment in time
You're
is
destroying-
like a quantum entanglement thing. Yeah.
I might just not read it now.
Sounds
No, you got to read it,
scientific.
Helen, or else. Yeah, science.
Oh, this is going to be really weird if people have just listened to me reading it out.
I know.
That hurts my head.
Awesome. That's what this podcast is for, ladies and gentlemen, hurting people's heads. But yeah, not for this final bit. I'd like to talk about language.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
la la.
and how interesting language is, because we all work with language on some level. Me, Callum, and Branders are all rappers, and so we use it to create rhythms and stuff. Helen uses language to help deal with her clients and things, because Helen's training to be a doctor. And it's just like,
Feels a bit false advertising.
shut up, you're going to be a doctor. And
You're being told.
I just found it really, really weird, because when you think about language, when you think about what language is, it's just sounds from our mouths, and then if you think about it a little more, it's just vibrations in the air. And yet, these vibrations in the air... No, because that's the answer to that question. What sound does a tree make in the forest if no one's around to hear it? It doesn't make any, but it only makes sound if there's an ear to translate the vibrations into a noise.
Yeah.
That's the proper pretentious answer.
Nice.
But yeah, no, so these sounds that I'm making with my mouth, they're just sounds, Callum, but you're understanding what these sounds are.
Sometimes.
And
Yeah.
some of these, sometimes. Some of these words that I could say, some of these sounds could hurt you. Some could make you feel happy, some could make you feel sad. And it's so mad
the beauty of music.
that we have these words. Yeah, but also, like, who invented the word bread? Who decided it was called bread?
This is
No,
something
it's true. It
genuinely.
drives me mad.
Yeah, no, you know what?
Genuinely,
Yeah.
that is something. Yeah.
When you just
yeah.
think, who got
Like,
to,
I
who got
used
to
think
name
about
all
that.
these individual things? Like, there was just one dude that
Yeah.
sat there, was like, that's what this is called. And he's just making like these
Yeah.
ridiculous words at the time, because obviously they weren't words at that point. People are looking at him like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you saying?
Yeah, so it's just, When you start thinking about it like that, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about the effect that music has on people, and that's just a sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's
It's
just
something you
certain
can't touch. You
vibrations.
can't even touch it, and yet people get so worked up over it, and it affects people
attached
so
and-
much.
yeah.
And it's like,
I don't.
Helen, our resident scientist, do you have anything to say about this?
Dun-dun-dun.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, go on, Brandon. You could talk now.
Okay. Now you've just like.
You were going to say something. That's why I
you
said.
just hot potatoed
interrupted
me.
you.
No, I completely agree with all that. I don't think, personally, nothing moves me more than music, like sound. Like I have an undying love for film, for video games, all of that. And I know sometimes sound is just an aspect of them things to an even greater thing. But there's something raw within sound and just music in general that can like touch you on an emotional level that just other things can't. And you can add your own personal, especially like instrumentals. Like if I listen to quite a lot of like orchestral stuff, instrumentals. Like some of it's like epic, like over the top theater stuff. Some of it's just like sad strings and piano, whatever. But it can touch you in a moving way, and that's not even using words. That is literally just notes and on a piano, on strings, whatever it is, and it can move you to ways that you just don't expect to be moved by. And I don't know the logic behind it, why these wiggly vibrations make you feel certain things, but it is fascinating.
I know what you mean. My favourite piece of music is an instrumental.
Yeah, it often is. You can put
I
your own
should say that
thoughts
when I'm
to
in
it.
a room with FMA plus 12 Gage.
You can say whatever you want. I don't care if people don't like our music.
But yeah, so
I hate it. I hate
I'm
it
not.
with a passion
I'm
for
not
me.
really a big. I'm not really a big music person. I like a lack of sound most of the time.
But that's still a sound.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's a
It
lack
is.
of sound.
No, it's still, but it's a sound. It's something.
No, because sound hurts sometimes, which is why I like there to be no sound.
Yeah, but that in itself is.
Your
like a
voice is
sound.
hurting now. Shush.
Put down.
Okay.
To go back to like the point you were saying about language.
Sorry, Callum.
Like-
I had finished. Not.
Let Helen finish, Callum.
Go on. Go on. Want to take the floor? Miss scientific evidence overrides a personal belief.
Chill, everybody.
Do you want to
I'm
dish
pretty
that?
chill.
I thought I was the enemy within this situation. Why are you attacking each other?
I didn't attack
Look at
anyone.
what
I
you've
just-
inspired.
Okay, chill, everybody. Right, Helen, go talk.
I forgot what I was gonna
Switzerland
say.
in this situation, everybody.
Yeah,
Make
what
peace.
were you going to say, Helen?
I was going to say, although it feels like it's gone on too long since I was making my point, so it doesn't matter.
No, go on.
Don't be afraid.
Talking
Push the boundary.
about instrumental,
Yeah.
there's certain tunes that I like to listen to that are instrumental. I like listening to because usually there's one specific sound in it done by a particular instrument that has a very distinct effect on me physiologically. So you can feel it in your skin, and do you know what I mean? Your body
Yeah.
kind of responds to it in a
no, definitely.
So like my two favourite pieces are Pachelbel's Canon, and there's one particular part where a certain note is played on a violin that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I listen to the whole track just for that specific note. And Santa and Johnny Sleepwalk,
Cool.
the instrument that's used in that. I can't remember the name of the instrument. What's it called?
Don't know.
It's that weird guitar sound.
I don't know. I know which one you're talking about. Is it like a sitar?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, go that sound.
But it doesn't sound like a sitar.
All right. No, I know what you mean, boy. It's a
Yeah.
wow.
It's fascinating that it's the one specific note that like does that for you, but on its own, that note might not necessarily emotionally like move you. But combine that with the other note before it, it's weird how the relationship between just two sounds can move you in a certain way. That it always intrigues
definitely.
me. There's maths behind music, but then there's like a lot of psychology behind it as well. That's why it's so fascinating.
Yeah. But I think a really good tip for people like to create things, it's like try and recreate those things that give you those feelings, because that's what we're always trying to do in it, Callum. We're trying to recreate the excitement that we hear within some parts of music, and so on. Like nearly everything we do is based around that.
Yeah.
If you wanted us to write a sad song, we can do it, but it will drive us absolutely mental.
Yeah.
But like we just naturally fall into creating that exciting thing, and I'm sure it's the same with you, Brandon.
100%
There's a very specific thing that you want to create.
Yeah.
And that's why I think if you want to create something, you should focus on the things that make you feel good when you're listening to something.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
I've been recording a lot of tracks over quarantine as well. And even though I had a lot written already before we'd gone into quarantine, a lot of these are tracks that I've written here and now that aren't going to be for like future releases, like the future album, which is nearly done and dusted. like it's just like getting that raw emotion out and giving that thing that makes me feel good, because that's what I'm struggling with a lot at the moment, trapped in quarantine.
Yeah.
So I've just been making music that I've just felt in that particular moment I wanted to hear. So a lot of it's like over the top, like ridiculously like overhamped, exciting stuff. Some of it's quite like on an emotional level to me personally, but I'm creating that to get that emotion from myself more than anything. And that's the best way I find, like, creating music, when you're creating them emotions for yourself. Yeah, rather than doing it thinking, right, I'm going in writing a sad song, or I'm going in writing this hype song. It's, this is what I'm feeling right now, and I need to get out and express, and whatever emotions conveyed from that is, you get what I mean.
Kind of the tip there is just, like, relax and let it become what it needs to become.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because we're hoping that people like listening to this go off and do their own things. I know a friend of ours has started creating time lapses of the sunset.
That's cool.
Cool. Which is absolutely awesome. I said she should start putting sounds into
time
it,
lapses
so
are weird. They're wicked though.
Yeah, they are really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But should we start wrapping things up?
Yeah, on another point, me and you did not break eye contact for that entire bit, and now I feel really awkward.
I've been looking all over. I've been looking at the patterns in the wallpaper.
Yeah, I've been trying to look away, but it's like we carry on meeting eyes.
Can't blame my
That's because I'm talking to you.
Yours is just as bad. Staring off into space.
So we're going to do some shout-outs now. So which one shall we begin with?
Yeah, well, we recently released Takeover, didn't we?
Yeah, the Takeover. It's a first track from our free EP.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't talk. Free track EP.
And my favourite as well.
From
just
the free EP track.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And that's good. But you're not allowed to say that, Brandon,
I know I'm
you
not.
helped us create
I'm a
it.
bit biased, but it genuinely is. Like, there's a certain aesthetic to it. It's wicked.
Yeah. But
Cheers.
one of the things that we used for this song is there's this awesome creepy photograph that we found, created by Focusing West Photography. And she's an absolutely amazing photographer.
Yeah.
And she's just studying at uni now. So it'd be really, really cool if people could go over and like her page.
She's on Instagram
she's on Instagram,
Focusing West, I think.
Focusing West, and also on Facebook it'd be exactly same address.
Yeah.
So she's really, really good at art. She was also doing this project where she was, I can't remember what she was doing, taking pictures of wheels on cars between her feet. I think that's what it was doing. And like when I saw that, I was like, that's well cool. That's like so different.
That's so obscure.
And so like I've been following her pictures, and she does some really, really cool pictures. So it'd be awesome if we could go and just get her some more support and stuff.
Yeah,
that'd
definitely
be really cool. And secondly, we'd like to shout out the Ferret.
Yeah.
Who have, I think they've achieved their goal now, have they? Is that correct?
I think so.
They were doing a crowdfunder because of the virus. All music venues and stuff are shut down, and it's a bit, it's awful. It's just a bit mad. And so,
surreal.
if you're from Preston, you'll know the Ferret. It's like the hub for music. So we'll be leaving a link to their page as well within the description of this. And do we have one last one?
Do
Brandon?
we?
Oh, was that a cue?
I don't know. Do you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a specific one, but I guess I'd say just a shout out to everyone that's keeping creative and producing art, or just keeping themselves like in a healthy mental state, or trying their best to. People that are suffering, keep your artistic intentions going, keep pushing through. You're doing amazing work, and it's such a good expression and a way of doing it. Just keep going forward.
Yeah.
We got this.
Awesome. And we would also like to wish what's his name? Wish him a happy
Captain
birthday.
Tom turned 100 this week.
Yeah, wish Captain Tom a happy birthday. He's done so
I think he's
good.
raised over
money.
£30 million
30 million.
now.
That's crazy, is that?
That's
It's
insane.
amazing.
So humble
what a cool
about
thing
it as
to
well,
do.
isn't he?
Yeah,
He is. He's fab.
he's awesome. So he's a hero. He should get a medal.
Oh
He's got
yeah,
a medal.
definitely. Yeah.
Should be
I think
knighted.
he's got medals.
Oh well, give him more medals.
We should just chuck some more at
Give him
him.
a plane.
Give him a plane.
And a hot tub.
He had them fly over for his birthday.
Cool, that's absolutely awesome. But yeah, and so finally, to play us out this week, it's FMA and Dreadnought with Death Warrant.
Oh, this is another
But
early one.
This goes, I know, but this goes back because I remember in one of the other episodes I was talking and I was talking about practicing. And the reason we can do what we can do is because we get obsessive about it, and we practice and practice and practice and practice. And a lot of the time when people hear these things, they think, oh, whoa, that's really cool. I'll never be able to do that. But I think that this song is an excellent example, because I went absolutely insane writing something for Brandon for this song. Yeah. And I genuinely cannot do it anymore because I'm not practicing it the same way that I was practicing it. Yeah. And so... yeah, I think it's really important for people to know that, because you see Eminem, don't you? And he's like, blah, 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 yeah, no issues. And then that kind of, like you've said before, Callum, it
was uncanny.
Yeah, I know, that was my perfect Eminem impression. But you've said before, Callum, it's like, it's disheartening, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, of course.
So I just wanted to be honest and say, I cannot do parts of this rap anymore. It's that difficult. I can do it if I spend ages practicing it. But it's not something that just comes to mind so simple.
I would also like to say, without feeding into your ego, whilst I'm not 100% proud of what I did on a lot of this project, which is why it wasn't prior release to this, I would like to say, A, your verse is phenomenal on this track, and B,
thank you.
Like, it's all a learning process. While I'm not happy with where I was then, I am so happy with where I am musically now, vocally, etc. I didn't have that confidence then, but I wouldn't have been there without that. So if you make something and you listen back to it and you think, this isn't how I had it in my head, which is what I went through personally, and I thought, I could do better. Don't let it dishearten you. Let it motivate you, and let that be a tool to just learn and keep pushing yourself. And you will get will get that track you have in your head. You will get that track that you've dreamed of, and you will be able to express yourself. It's just practice. Keep going, don't get disheartened, and create as much as you can.
Yes.
Definitely.
Excellent advice there. That's a great place to leave the podcast, isn't it?
Thank you. If anyone is interested, I'll throw this out there, Dreadnought, check me out. Some very heavy, aggressive rap. I'm aiming to get some bits out soon. The next project I'm releasing is going to be called Synthetic Nightmares. It's going to be a 6-track EP. Very synthwave based. That's just kind of something I've done over quarantine just to keep myself occupied. Hopefully you guys like it. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. Stay creative. Have fun.
So it's goodbye from FMA.
It's goodbye from Helen.
It's goodbye from 12 Gauge.
And goodbye from Dread.
Cool. Take care, everyone.
Right,
Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Adios.
In a bit.
This is a death warrant, it's judgment day. I've been laying dormant, now it's time to hunt the prey. It's a death warrant, apocalyptic fate. They take the pain, it's coming your way. We tell them, step back, you're under attack. We tell them, step back, brace for impact. We'll show them, it's raining lead, FMA and dread. Painted pictures red, with tongue-twisted bullets. Take a look in the eyes of a psycho. You will see the blood's already on my hands. Crimson rivers, sickly tears in my sight. So better run before I drown you with a dog. See my lights all flickering, yeah, guess I'm sick again. Range in effect like hallucinogens, feeling see-through like a contact lens, no friends. Set to self-destruct. The counters we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, play like a megaton. I'm a time bomb, tick until the mark is gone. Stepping on, masters like an atom, I'm lashing with a baton. Attacking a dragging mine and body bags, I'm tagging and bragging, planting flags in this landing. Nose but handing, and I'm standing above the rest. I detest them, anything less than a great ass. Bare knuckle brawl with your empire's wall stand tall. I'm at fall, this is a death warrant. It's judgment day. I've been laying dormant, now it's time to hunt the prey. It's a death warrant, apocalyptic fate. They take the pain, it's coming your way. Tell them, step back, cause you're under attack. We tell them, step back, brace for impact. Show them, it's raining lead, FMA and dread. Painting pictures red, with tongue-twisted bullets. Step back, I'm a madman with a pen in my hand. I'm bringing the wicked and stepping into your vision. Ink stripping skins pitted with pepper cuts. I conduct, step it up, let's dance with a madness. And my language with a demon as it dances to my anguish. Was already written, the rhythm mat slipping. I gave my life for this practice. You better abandon the battle, match back in the saddle. He's leading the pitiful cattle and I'm crafting a batch fat rap. Standing alone in the aftermath of rap. What's that sack? Dread sent for us and we're hit, spit the acid on the track. I am the man for the task, the roll, they'll all fall. I've spent seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months and years wishing for somebody's touch with nothing else to do but improve and breathe. I'm a fucking dog shaking off a rush, you better bet that I'm gonna be bringing my best. I'm gonna be breaking the bar apart, never